What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Budget Builds. Hey, it's been a while since I threw a video together. The last video I put out got a copyright because I had some music in the beginning and the background, so I think I only got like 10 views on the video. So I'm gonna throw this one together. Driving right now. Is still in Mexico. We are 1 day short of a month left to go here in Mexico. So we leave the 18th of July. Today's the 19th of June. I'm driving back, so on the 18th, sometime probably pretty early that morning, gonna hit the road, and got some pretty cool news on that. So on the way back, we are picking up our next project, or one of our other projects. So we got the Jeep. That's still another project. I got a few things. One of the things I want to do when I get back is I want to put together a whiteboard in my shop that's got a list for each vehicle with things we got going. So I think I've mentioned in the past I want to get more into the welding and fabrication side of things. It's something, it all goes back to the inspiration for this channel. And if you've watched Puddin's Fab or Mortski, Little Vice Grip, or even Old Truck Guy, and other than Vice Grip, I've known him for a long time, or not personally known him, but known of him for a long time. But listened to a lot of podcasts. One time I was listening to Vice Grip's podcast when I heard about Puddin's Fab, and I was like, no, let's listen to this. And I heard him out, and I thought, let's check out his channel. And that's what got me to make my own channel. It's like, this guy's pretty cool. He's doing stuff in his older videos out of his, small, looked like a 2-car garage at his home, and he was putting together some pretty cool builds. I thought, I do a lot of this already, and why not film it, put together a YouTube, and get this out there. So that was kind of the inspiration behind it. And now he's moved into a bigger shop, still on his property, a new property, but he's doing pretty well for himself, and he's still doing a lot of the same stuff he started out doing with a lot of the patina builds and kind of lower budget stuff. So that's what I want to do. I want to make a channel for people that are doing this in their own garage. We don't have huge budgets, but we want to make something that we can cruise the weekends, and it's not unrealistic. We're not building $100,000 projects. So with that said, yeah, I'm driving right now here in Mexico. I got to go to an appointment. So I wanted to put this together, talk a little bit about the future for Budget Builds, kind of go over a lot of the stuff that was put into the previous video, but because it got the copyright, didn't get very many views. So we're going to kind of touch on a lot of that again as well. And hopefully we don't get a copyright on this one. No music's on in the background, so hopefully we should be fine. The last one, the music in the background was just at the very beginning. I actually thought it was quiet enough it wasn't going to be picked up, or at least clear enough to know what it was, but apparently it was. So all right, let's go over the few topics we want to cover in this video. We're going to list off all the projects we've got and what we want to do with them. We're going to talk about this cool new project we got that we're picking up on the way back to Michigan from Mexico, where that's coming from. Talk a little bit about merch. Got some cool Budget Builds merch coming. And yeah, that's probably what we'll touch on, those 3 topics, and then wind down at the end of that. So let's start at the beginning with the project list. So first off, get back to Michigan. I want to start doing some welding. So we're going to start with just some scrap welds, some scrap metal welding. Do some of that. We're going to do a little work on the shop. Kind of nothing crazy. Going to do something with the floor, seal up some cracks in the walls, maybe some insulation and wall paneling for like the lower 8 feet. Just keeping it low budget. Find some source of a heater for the winter so we can do some more projects out there this winter. And hopefully some sort of lift system to at least stack 2 vehicles, get a little more free workshop space in the front of the shop. And then moving on to the next project, so we'll weld up some scrap metal just to get better at the welding, because I have very little welding experience, but I want to become better at it. And before I touch any of my vehicles, I want to just do some scrap metal and get a little better with that first, and then move on to our project. So on this vehicle I'm driving right now, this is my Gladiator. It's got the big rack on the back with the rooftop tent and all my camp gear. I want to move that to a little trailer, and hopefully maybe like a 4x6 utility trailer that will maybe do something with the axles. We'll put some bigger wheels and tires on it, and we'll move this rack to it. and then, you know, a water tank, whatever else for the overland setup. I haven't gone a lot into my overlanding stuff on this channel yet. For one, it doesn't necessarily fit the idea of the channel with the budget builds. When I bought everything here, I definitely had a budget in mind, and was very cautious about what I was buying for the truck and how much it costed and where it was adding up. But it's not a super low budget build, but if there's interest, we can go over it. I do have a short video out on the channel already about the Jeep, but it doesn't go into a ton of details. But this trailer I want to build is going to be a very budget build friendly project, as I'm going to find a used trailer, hopefully spend less than 400 bucks on the trailer. Gonna weld it up myself, gonna find some used old takeoff Jeep wheels, throw some 34 or 35s on it probably. Those will most likely be used as well, or there'll be some knockoff brand that keeps the price down. Very light use, but that keeps the rack off the bed of the truck, and once I'm back in Michigan and the salt's out, that cheap powder coat they put on all the black, you know, accessories you buy for trucks, chips and flakes, and then you got rust starting, and that happens very fast, especially in an area where there's salt. So I want to get that off there before winter, and it'd be nice if it was all contained onto one trailer, where if we want to go out with it camping, all I got to do is hook up to that trailer and we're good to go. I don't gotta drive around with it all the time. So that's one project I want to do, and that'll help with some welding a little bit too. So that's that. And then I got my old 91 Ford that I want to do floor pans in, and that I know is going to spiral into a lot more than floor pans. I know it needs rockers, I know it needs cab corners, it needs lower door skins, it needs a bed. It looks good from 10 feet away, but when you get close, it's not so great. I kind of threw that together really fast, right before my wedding. So about 12 years ago, we did it in like 2 weeks. The truck used to be my grandpa's, it got sold, I ended up with it again, and it got pretty rough in the couple of years that the other guy had it. So I wanted it to look decent in wedding pictures, and we used it to haul the kegs and some hay bales and stuff for the wedding. So in a couple of weeks, with some friends and a guy I knew that worked at a paint shop, we were able to make it look pretty good for very, very cheap. But it's been that way now for 12 years, and it's bubbling again, and there was no metal work done. It was all just Bondo work done to make it look better, and we know it actually needs metal work. So all the panels, they make those for it, so we can easily get a hold of all the panels from LMC or, you know, plenty other options. But it'll need floors, and I think I'm going to wait on that project. I originally was thinking I was going to do that this winter, but the next thing I want to mention, well, we'll move into is the reason why I'm going to wait on that. So we'll get to that. Probably won't be this coming winter, maybe the following, maybe it will be this winter, I'm not sure. Also, I got my Mustang, which I don't really have a whole lot of list. I got a few parts sitting around that I never got to installing on that, but not sure, there's nothing pressing on it as long as we get it up and running again when I get back, take it to a few shows, and then we'll put it back away for the winter. And the Jeep has a rear sway bar link mount that snapped off when I was out in Moab with it, and I've been just driving around with the rear sway bar disconnected because of that for almost a year now. And so I'd like to just weld a tab in there and get that reconnected. It's actually a pretty common issue on these once you start off-roading them. So they actually make some different aftermarket mounts, a little heavier duty steel than the factory steel. So I'll weld something in there for that, get that back connected. That'll be also a fairly basic welding project to get started on. Okay, so the fun one. I've mentioned Puddins, mentioned Mortsky, and I've mentioned the old truck guy. And if you know who the old truck guy is, he's out of Oklahoma, and he rescues old trucks. Primarily, it seems like anything 70s and older, goes to auctions, goes to old farms, goes to estate sales, wherever he can find these things. And because he's out of Oklahoma, typically he shops Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and he finds fairly rust-free trucks. You know, they're surface rust, they got patina and whatnot, but they're not rotten. And sometimes they got interior, sometimes they got drivetrain, sometimes they don't. Well, I am picking up a truck from him, and it is a 1957 F100. Long bed, inline 6 with a 3 on the tree. Needs floors, at least on the driver's side, as I can tell from the pictures. I have not seen this truck in person yet. And needs some glass. Looks like it's got the windshield, it's got the rear glass, but the side glass on the main roll down windows, at least on the driver's side, you can tell is like half the glass is missing. So it needs that. Goals with that truck: first, obviously, just get it home and pull it back from Oklahoma up to Michigan on my drive back from Mexico. So I'll be pulling it about 800 miles with this Gladiator that isn't necessarily designed to do that. It's got a 6,000 pound tow capacity. Obviously I'll have a bunch of junk in the back, so I got that going on, but I got a weight distribution hitch for it, and we'll take it easy. Not gonna go too crazy with it, and we're probably gonna do, 450 miles a day with it, 2 days of driving. Take it easy in the slow lane, going under the limit, and we'll be fine. So I'm not too concerned about that part of it. It was a little bit of a concern up front, but I've kind of calmed myself down about that. I think we're gonna be fine. Once the truck's back, it's gonna sit for a little bit, to be honest, because I got a lot of stuff after we moved from Mexico back up to Michigan that we got to get taken care of. Like I said at the shop, I want to get some work done. Probably get a hoist in there. But once we do get around to it, goals are, so the patina on it's interesting. It's looks like at one point some of the truck was blue, maybe there was some red. You know how old trucks are, and you don't know what parts have been there, from the factory, what's been added, what's been bumped or hit and replaced. But I think we're gonna do something with the patina to try to kind of even everything out, so it kind of at least looks the same. That's one thing I want to do with it. Next up will be we're gonna get the inline 6 moving again, hopefully, if it's not stuck. If it's stuck, I don't know, maybe we'll see what we can do with it. It's got the old 223 inline 6 with a 3-speed, and I'd like to at least hear that thing run again. It's not the long-term engine I want in it, but it'd be cool to get it moving on its own power before I do anything too crazy with it. And then I want to work on the interior. It has the frame of the old seat, but other than that, there's nothing really left in the interior. It's got the steering column, the steering wheel. Like I said, it needs floors, so we're gonna address the floors. We're going to address the seat, which will be a replacement seat, hopefully some sort of used seat I find on Marketplace. You can either have it reupholstered or just cover it with a Mexican blanket. We'll see. And then, okay, so now let's say we got that figured out. We got it moving on its own. We got seats in there. Good deal. Things are good. Okay, now the long-term cool goals of it. I'd like to do a Crown Vic chassis swap. It's the cheapest way to get a V8 in this truck. And you get upgraded suspension, upgraded disc brakes. So what you do with that is you find a Crown Vic, you chop the body off the chassis, and you literally lower the body of the truck back onto that Crown Vic chassis. Obviously there's some modifications and body mounts that have to be made and customized to make this work. But other than that, it's a pretty common thing people do with these old F100s. So if I ever want more than just that little 6-cylinder out of it, the best route to go is to do this Crown Vic chassis swap. And so with that said, it really makes me hesitate on doing much with the rest of the truck, like lowering the truck or doing disc brake conversion on it, because I don't want to waste the money on all that stuff and then end up doing the Crown Vic truck, chassis swap, which gives me disc brakes, better suspension, new motor and trans with it. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. Some guys keep the Crown Vic firewall and the dash and just put that completely underneath the cab of the old truck, and then your interior looks like a Crown Vic dashboard, which is okay. I'm not against that route, but if I do decide to go that route, I'd like to find a town car instead of the Crown Vic and get the nicer dash, and then I just tint the windows really dark on it, and you really wouldn't know on the outside that it's on a Crown Vic chassis until you get inside it. If I want to keep the old style dash, which would be cool and ideal, and I can go with the cheapest Crown Vic I can find. It just to me looks like that way to go is a little more involved. I've never done something like this, so the first time go around and try to keep this as easy as possible. So more than likely we'll end up finding a early 2000s Lincoln Town car with a decent dash in it and a good motor and trans. It's all it has to have. If a tree fell on it, if it's been rear-ended, I think it'll be all right for what we need to use it for. So that's what I'll be looking for. Then we'll have disc brakes, 4.6 2-valve V8, which is also the motor that's in my Mustang. Obviously that one's pretty heavily modified, but same idea. And that'll be our project on the truck. And I can see us going that route more than any other option. So short term, get the little inline 6 running so you can drive it around town a few times, work on the body a little bit, make it look a little better. And then maybe year 2, we do the Crown Vic chassis swap. Pretty cheap, all said and done. You know, honestly, from what I've watched online and seen other people do with these things, it'd be hard to find a reason or an item in the build that would make this become more than a $5,000 project, which is pretty cool to me, to have a 57 F100 that's got a cool sweet patina look on it, lowered 4.6 modern V8, independent front suspension, disc brake truck, you know, for under $5,000, I think is pretty doable. Biggest expense would be, honestly, is depending on what kind of wheels and tires you go with, and any modifications to the motor and exhaust work and such like that. But as far as picking up an old town car or Crown Vic, I mean, I've looked and you can find them for less than $1,000 on the Crown Vic side of things. If you want a town car, you know, $2,500 will get you a 100,000 mile town car with a clean interior. So definitely a doable project that I foresee us doing down the road. And I know I've talked a lot about projects that we're going to be doing on this channel, but what have we really done? And yeah, I get it. It hasn't been a lot. And that's mainly because I'm still in Mexico and it's holding us back. So I'm really looking forward to getting out of here and getting back to the US so we can actually start putting this together. You know, I started this channel while living in Mexico with the idea that we'll get back to Michigan and we'll really put these projects together. And that's where we're heading. It's just taking some time to get there. So stay tuned to the channel for that. It's going to happen. And eventually we'll be doing some pretty cool projects. Next up, we'll talk merchandise. So I know I'm a very small YouTube channel, very few followers. Intend to grow this though to the maximum if we can. So share it, follow it, like it, send it to your friends. I know once we get some better content building these trucks and the Ram Charger content and stuff like that, it'll help boost the content. People will start seeing it, I guess is what I'm getting at. So with that said, I've made a few shirts already for myself that say budget builds and whatnot, but I'm gonna make some more. I'm gonna do a giveaway once we get the right amount of subscribers on the channel, which first goal is 1,000. Once we get to 1,000, we're gonna do a giveaway. It'll be shirt, hat, stickers, that kind of thing, nothing crazy. And then eventually, once we get enough, I've mentioned this a few times before in other videos, we'll do a vehicle giveaway. Maybe it'll be this F100, we'll see. But anyway, if you're interested in the merchandise, at the end of this video, I'll throw up some photos of what we got coming. It's looking like late July, early August for the shirts and hats. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I don't have pricing exactly, but I would expect, you know, the average $25 t-shirts, $25 hats, so-and-so like that, stickers, $4 or $5 a piece. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And share that, like I said, share that with your friends. Share that with on your page. If you're on Facebook, you know, and you're following Budget Builds already, share that so we can keep getting this growing. That's the goal with it. So far, it's been all organic growth. I haven't done a whole lot of paid advertisements. I did run an ad with a video to see how that worked, and honestly, it didn't do a whole lot. So the cool thing about that, I guess, is the fact I'm getting 1,000 views on a video without paying for any help, which I know 1,000 views isn't a lot in YouTube world, but for me, I mean, just throwing that out there and people are watching it, so that's pretty cool. I think we have one Ram Charger video with maybe 3,000 views on one of the Ram Charger videos, and there'll be more Ram Charger content too, but I don't want this channel to be the Ram Charger channel, and most of the videos right now, that's what it's about. So we'll we'll put some new stuff together on there, like I said. But I wanted to throw this out there, get some updates. Like I said, it covers a lot of what the previous video had in it, just because that one got copyrighted and 10 views. So hopefully this one gets a little more traction than that. Other than that, stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, follow, share, like, all that stuff. I do have a Facebook page up now for budget builds, so if you are not following that, go check that out. I'm using that to kind of post a little early advance on what's coming. So if I'm making a new video, you'll find it there first. If I got merchandise coming, you'll see it there first. If you got a new project coming, you'll see it there first. And then the videos will come shortly after. And so go check that out. Same budget builds on Facebook, same logo. So if you see that logo, you found the place. I think the current most up-to-date photo right now is a picture of the Project 57. So if you want to see what that truck looks like in more detail than the thumbnail on this video, go check it out on the Facebook page and you'll see that. Other than that, thanks again for watching. Thanks for watching Budget Builds. Thanks for subscribing. And until next time, keep working on your projects, keep the costs down, and still have fun. It's definitely doable. So thanks again for watching, guys.